Thanks, Les. Yeah. Hello. How you guys?
Hello.
Nice. Hi.
How are you?
Good, good. Hi, Chris. Aloha. Hi, Chris. Alan, aloha. Please. Thanks very much, everybody, for coming today. This, by coincidence, happens to be the day after we had the opportunity to recognize out at Hickam the Air National Guard awardees in a series of categories. Representative Takai was there in his role as in the Guard yesterday, and I mention it at this point with this bill signing today because among those, one of those honored yesterday, Airman of the Year and Organization of the Organization of the Year, and so on, was one of the awards had to be accepted by the young son of one of the Air Guard members, of course, who was deployed at the present time. So the question of these bills is not something that's in the abstract. It's not something that these bills do not necessarily have only symbolic value or a look back at something. On the contrary, they are related to military personnel and activities that, of course, are ongoing and have real impact on the lives and futures of families throughout the state and the nation. Now, the first bill, HB 1770, relating to veterans, adds veterans to the driver's license and ID. We just got a little facsimile of what is likely to be taking place for those who want to take advantage of. On the driver's license in the corner up in the right will be a representation of the islands and the word veteran clearly associated with the rectangular representation of the islands will be, of course, taking place. The Representative Takai was the principal sponsor. Many others, of course, signed on. Principal sponsor in the House, both in the Senate and the House, pushing it. They have the opportunity then to have the veterans designation beginning in October of this year, and many veterans do not necessarily carry around a copy of their DD Form 214, the certificate of the release of discharge from active duty, and many other states have already done this. We've lagged a little bit behind in this designation and in this identification capacity. So I'm glad that Mark and others here today recognize that this is something that we needed to put forward. The other bill, of course, today has to do with relating to Gold Star families. And again, Representative Takai was one of the principal sponsors, along with our other friends in the legislature here today. And this goes back, for those who may not be totally familiar, although I suspect most of the people in this room already have the history, but for the purposes of the record, it goes back to 1936, which designated the last Sunday in September as Gold Star Mother's Day to honor the mothers of men and women who gave their lives for their country while serving in the armed forces in times of war or conflict. And of course, at that point, no one had any idea that this designation would take on the centrality that it did with post-December 7th, 1941. So in September then of 2009, President Obama renamed the last day in September as Gold Star Mothers and Families Day to include family members. And in 2011, Act 70 was signed into law designating Gold Star family license plates for those families of fallen soldiers, and we joined some 7 other states in this. So my point here is that we want to honor those who served in the armed forces and those who lost loved ones while serving. So veterans now with 1770 will be able to choose to identify their veteran status, and this will have, I hope, a practical effect as well. Come in, gentlemen. Glad to see you here today. You're just in time. I was about to speak about discounts. So, okay. Hoping that this, by having the veterans designation here on a license, for those who want to honor and recognize veterans in terms of perhaps giving a discount or some recognition in a practical way, this will give veterans ID status, legal ID. This will be, of course, legal ID, and that will be helpful in that. And then, of course, with the Gold Star Family Day, designating the last Sunday in September as Gold Star Family Day, starting this September 28th, 2014. We'll recognize the family members of those who have given their lives while serving in the armed forces, and obviously this doesn't either repay or take the place in any way, shape, or form of that loss, but it gives more than symbolic recognition. It gives us the opportunity for reflection, even if for a few moments, on the meaning and the expression of what our fundamental values are and our regard for each other's humanity. So in that context, I don't ordinarily do this associated with bill signing as such, but I wondered perhaps if Representative Takai might come up, and also I would wonder if Colonel Bronstrom and my friend Alan Holm might come up as well, and perhaps they could say a few words in recognition of these two bills and their relationship, not only to the bills themselves, but their relationship to their commitment and their being here today, if you'll forgive me, as representatives of many other people. And not necessarily, I wouldn't be so bold as to say that you could speak for other people, but I think you can speak on behalf of what is represented in these bills. Would you mind coming up? Mark, would you mind?
Thank you, Governor. While the gentlemen come up, I just wanted to thank you, Governor, for doing this. These are two very important bills for these families and veterans, and I'm so glad to join you here today to witness this. I wanted to mention just a few people that are here, because we have a lot of people, and thank you for coming. My colleagues, Cynthia Thielen, Senator Malama Solomon, and Representative Cindy Evans, thank you for coming. These bills are all about veterans, and I wanted to recognize Karen and Dean Hatakeyama for their support, but really to recognize them because they're a Gold Star family. Her son, Captain Reed Nishizawa, was killed in action last year, and we recognized him and their family just a few weeks ago. Mary Jo Brostrom and Dave Brostrom here, they're Gold Star families too. They lost First Lieutenant Jonathan Brostrom. And Alan Ho and his family is proud of Nainoa Ho, but unfortunately we lost Nainoa as well. And then Christy Bai is the wife of Chief Warrant Officer Ed Bai, who we lost as well. So I think that's all the Gold Star families here, but they represent, Governor, 331 families since the War on Terror began who have ties to Hawaii. So I think it's important to recognize them. We have a number of veterans here, veteran representatives from World War II and on. And I just wanted to ask just briefly a question. How many veterans out there have served in the military but don't have a retirement ID card? Can you raise your hand? You guys have ID cards? Do you have an ID card? You have an ID card? You have ID cards?
Yeah, state ID card.
No,
No.
military ID card.
Retired
yes.
military.
Yeah, see, the point here is that what we're doing today formalizes the recognition of veteran status for those people who serve that didn't complete a 20-year service or didn't deploy or a few other things. They don't get the ID. On October 1st, they're going to get a driver's license that designates them as a veteran. And that, to me, is very important. So thank you very much, Governor. And I think we have these gentlemen to speak regarding the bills.
Well, why don't you do this alphabetically?
Representative Kai and Governor Abercrombie, thank you for doing this. I can't think of a better way of honoring especially the mothers, the fathers and extended families who raised the great Americans that sacrificed their lives in defense of our country. Especially for me, it's a little bit different because I have a Gold Star grandson. His father was killed in 2008. He's now 10 years old, and every chance I get, I remind him to honor his father's sacrifice by being the best that he can be. So to me, and to the Brostrom family, this is all about the young people, because they are the future of our country. So, Governor, thank you, and Mark, thank you again.
Thank you. Alan?
Thank you. Before I say anything, I just want to acknowledge Ann Wolcott. Her son was killed in Vietnam in 1973. She is a past president of the National Gold Star Mothers Association, and she just happened to be vacationing here with us this week. But for
Happy
me,
to have you here, Ann.
Yeah.
Thank you.
she said she remembers you from your days on Maui.
Uh-huh. I remember it too. It all left. Everything left.
But I not much more to add to what Dave has said, but I think for us veterans, Hawaii has an incredible legacy of service to this nation. And if you look around the room, you will see it crosses every gender, every ethnic background, every social standing, if you will. But for one thing, we were all raised, one, with the understanding and belief when it became our duty to serve, we would do so. And I'm so proud to kind of remind people of that proud tradition, and especially for these gentlemen who kind of set the cornerstone for us from World War II. What you folks did is just absolutely awesome. And it passed down to me from my uncles and my grandfathers, and it transcended to my sons. And you know, not only am I a proud combat veteran from Vietnam, but like Dave said, our sons also felt that calling. And one of the very sad distinctions we have is I'm also a Gold Star father. Thank you.
Alan, why don't you talk about the veteran status on the driver's license for you?
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought you covered it well.
No, but you're the
You
guy
know,
we did it for.
You know, for most of us in Hawaii who served and put on the uniform when you know our country called us, we were citizen soldiers. We had, you know, our lives. They say your life was interrupted as you completed your commitment to serve your country. And so for me, I didn't retire military, but when I got out, I always thought that my service in the Army probably was one of those very meaningful, life-changing events. And so I'm just so thrilled now that when we have it on our driver's license, we don't have to go into Costco and declare that you're a veteran, right? they'll see it, and then we'll get the, what, the discount.
Yay.
And if
Now
they-
now the real stuff. You see? I knew I was emphasizing the right thing here.
Thank you.
Very good. Well, I'm gonna, if you three folks will stand behind me. Now I'm gonna move up and sign the bills. I'm pleased to have the opportunity to do this formally. I just, by way of a personal note, I know, see my old friend Tom Sterling here. I remember when I was called to be the Secretary of Defense at the Air War College down in Alabama, back when I was a legislator. My point being that just in reflection of what Alan just said about the citizen soldier and the Guard, our republic is distinguished by the fact that we don't depend on anyone but ourselves and to defend democracy, and the citizen soldier has been the hallmark of that defense. And this status, if you will, then will be recognized in a way that will have both practical effect and symbolic effect in terms of making sure that we don't forget our legacy. So I will sign first HB 1770, and with your kind permission, I will give you the pen afterwards, Alan, for this. Done. That's great. Colonel, I'm going to sign the Gold Star. I'm going to sign the Gold Star family bill right now, and again, with everyone's permission here, I'm sure I'd like to give you the pen for this. Done. Congratulations. If you would kindly hold that, and maybe, Alan, if you can hold that, we'll turn this around. Oh, yes, we will, but let's get this done first. Can we get this out of the way? Yeah. You two get in the middle, and Mark and I will bookend you. How's that?
Okay.
Okay? Get this.
1, 2, 3.
Now, we certainly want everybody else to have their opportunity to get some pictures taken, so we can do this at your pleasure. You can do it individually or groups, you don't mind, I hope. How about it? How about the families first?
Okay.
Why don't we get the families?
Oh, yeah, they're in
Oh,
caucus.
okay.
Yeah.
We'll get the legislators first. Well, we'll get a little
I'm
closer.
representing my mother. My brother died in Vietnam.
Come,
Yeah.
let's put these up on the,
Thank you.
here, let's put that up there, and let's all, come up here, Mama, come up next to me.
I'll stand on this.
Cindy, there you are.
Are we okay?
Did you want to say a word or two? No. You?
Thank you very much.
Yeah, whatever, yes. Come. You four folks.